I am Muktinandama. There will be a transmission teaching arriving momentarily. I would like to invite the listener in this moment to connect with the you that is beyond the you think you are in this present moment. To feel the you that you experience on a daily basis. And then to become aware of the you that existed before all this experience in the world of illusionary death. This you will feel very subtle and intuitive. It is this you that we speak to today, that we invite to this transmission conversation. As Mukti Ananda Ma, connecting with the team in a border reality. A vibrational reality that is simply one paradigm away. Listen with the ears of the self before it identified with the death embodiment identity. And so we shall begin. We welcome you and we are grateful that you have arrived in this moment. It is a moment that has been well planned. You coming here to recollect your purpose, your mission, and the identity that will carry it out. We speak as one voice of this united and unified team who is working together both in the reality of what you would call higher beingness or higher selves, and in the reality of this limited world. We are connected all the way up and all the way out, all the way up through the 12th dimension in this humanoid forms, and all the way out across many, many realities that are carrying out this same intention to give birth to an eternal identity through a mortal identity without the door of death. And so we speak to you today about time and timelines, and the way to think about time and the way to create time to experience this adventure from an eternal perspective and point of view, from an eternal empowered state. There are many divine, wonderful beings who are co-collaborating, participating, and partaking in this mission. Many of you will resonate with the beloveds who are the overseers, the heart of this mission indeed, Babaji and Yeshua, Metatron, and many and many and many, some known by this current reality and some not. And precious one, you too are a part of this amazing collaborative co-creation, this adventure, in a sense not yet done, not yet resurrected, a precious dream to the one, to the one, to the one that is all, giving birth through a mortal body to the glorious eternal identity that rises from the ashes of the illusions of death to present one's eternal self and to see the whole world unfold to do the same. Every piece of life, in every aspect of life. Not only our bodies doing this, but the experiential tracks of life like relationship, exchange. We won't list all the ways, but you get the idea that this going from limited death expression or the train tracks of that movie, from a movie of the great revelation of eternal nature in all things that can be experienced, love, and all its many ways of dancing in the Leela of life. So let us begin now with how do you, as a creator being, create time in such a way that is aligned with eternity, aligned with the mission that you are here to participate in, to contribute to. In the paradigm of the world of death, there is a pre-programmed track. On that track of life that goes from birth to young one to old one to death. Built into this paradigm of the world of death is the notion that there is the circle of life and death, of being born, decaying, and dying, and returning back to the void and beginning again. And so you must understand that this is just one way to experience life and time. It is served as sort of a marker, not only a marker of time passing, but of an accelerator of one's own growth, knowing that time is limited. That sense of hurry and urgency that is built into this paradigm has done many things, making the dissension process quicker, therefore staying in those lower vibrations in time, more confined than they would be without this type of train track of decay and death, and all the all the villains of death, this like sickness and disease and murder and accidents and all those workers of death. You must see what or how the rails, if you will, of the world of death, what is keeping everything on track so that that movie plays out to serve its purpose. And when you see that, you know what to dismantle, what to replace, what needs to be replaced. And today we will speak to you of some of these new rails. And we are excited to do so. Because coming from the rails of the world of death and taking a ride on the rails of eternal life, what a glorious switch, if you will, like coming up for air after holding your breath a little too long. How wonderful it will be to take this breath together. So, what then will be the marker of time? If not decay, if not seasons changing, if not life and death, what will be the power behind the movement of time, right? The ticking of the clock. If not this sense of urgency to complete one's mission due to the nature of the frailty of life and all the villains of death that come to take it. What will keep time moving? What will keep time being noticed? What will the ticking of the clock be? How will it be measured by the internal systems of the identity? Already those who are living more in their consciousness of their divine and eternal nature notice that time has become funny. Even memories have become funny. For the tracking of a life from beginning to middle to end has been destabilized. For the eternal does not operate by the same markings of time. Time is experienced in the now. It is not marked by a past and a future. It is marked by experience itself. The nuances of each experience. And the marker is not decay. The marker is, we're so excited to say this, it is so wonderful. Let's take a moment so that we are present all to hear this with our entire being. The new marker for you, for an eternal being, is growth, expansion, and greater perfection. Time unfolds in this way. So rather than marking time from birth to death and all in between, Time is now an element of your expansion of all the attributes of your being. It is marked by expansion of love, of beauty, of energy. It is marked by these leaps, if you will, or paradigm shifts of growth. This is how your eternal being remembers time. It doesn't remember it by dates and years, but by these shifts, these expanded moments that create a life around it that reflects it. It's like time is marked by moving from one city to the next, but not so much in the move, but in the energetic growth and expansion of new experience that is had. Let's take one thing, the body, which is the constant reminder in the world of death that time is ticking. The growth is always towards the one inevitable destination of death. That is the rail that all rides on in the world of death. And it's playing in the background at every moment with the tick of the clock, with the flip of the calendar from year to year. As an eternal being, and you will know this as you listen to the self that existed before the identity of mortality. With every expansion that you become, the eternal being creates an identity that is even more perfect to the individualized divine self in every way. This includes the embodiment. For the body is just a reflection of where the awareness is focused. And as one expands oneself with the capacity to be love, to be that state that is eternal, that harmonic play of life without discord, one will begin to see the movies of the change of the body that unfold in this type of living, a living awareness, a living directed awareness. We know that these words are not, this communication is not being transmitted in the typical language and the paradigm you mostly exist in. But we know that as you absorb this transmission and perhaps listen again, that you will understand the nuances of the words and how we use them and how we stack them up. And so begin to mark your experience with an awareness of the shifts, the expansions into the different qualities of your being, whatever they are: joy, peace, greater joy, greater peace, greater sense of beauty, greater sense of energy and life. You will see this reflected in your body, in your thoughts and the desires that arise, in your understandings, in your revelations, in your interactions. So we know that there is a question regarding struggles. We spoke earlier of the villains of death, such as sickness, old age, that are present in the mortal identity's life. And we'll speak briefly on this, for we know it is a concern. But rest assured that as you relax into experiencing your life through the eyes of eternity, and listening for expansion instead of the tick of time, that these villains of death will fall away quite naturally, because they are part of the old rail system. And the more you dwell as the eternal identity, who is right now experiencing the expansion of the idea of embodiment in a world, you are coming out of the confines of embodiment, meaning birth and death. You are coming out of that paradigm and instead seeing life and time as simply expansions of quality of being. Then death is needed no more for the ticking of time. And we love time because time unfolds movies that we experience and love to experience life. We are ready for questions by our dear representative of the listeners at this time.
Thank you. Thank you for everything. How can we help the body hold higher vibrational states?
It is important to remember, we like this question because this is a question that many will have. It is important to remember that all begins where? Where does all begin?
In consciousness.
In attention to consciousness, which is attention to life. Wherever this attention rests is what you will see embodied, whether embodied in a tree, embodied in a body, a person, embodied in a political system, embodied in a 2-minute conversation. Do you understand? And so the body will take care of itself. It will do the right job of reflecting where the attention is being held perfectly. With a bit of a time delay, we agree to that, but only to the extent of where the attention is. That delay is really so small. People think that the delay is long between the inner and the outer, but it's only because they keep going back to the outer. And so, in focusing on that and their attention, they recreate inside that focus, and it keeps it in place. The less you put your attention on the external while you're in creator mode, the quicker you will experience the expansions that you desire.
It's interesting to try to understand how to bridge this, because the desires of the heart, I know many people have the desire to give and love. And as you said, there's the outer. So there always seems to be a mismatch between the physical and the desires of the heart.
And what is your question?
I guess, is there a way to bridge this gap where you can stay focused on the desires of the heart and it manifests?
Let's do a specific example, because otherwise people get lost in the theoretical abstracts. It's much more tangible to give a real life, personal example.
Well, let's say the power of healing. People suffer and have physical ailments, and the desire is that they don't have that suffering.
Well, there is healing of oneself, and then there is healing of others. So the healing of oneself requires a paradigm shift that is different than the healing of others. The healing will speak to the healing of others because that is what you seem to be pointing towards. There must be a holding of awareness on the idea, or you could say on the truth, this idea is the component of making this dream a reality. It's a required ingredient. And the idea is that you, as the healer, have the ability to bring healing to others, because there exists something that is not separate from you and them, that you can remember on their behalf. You can recollect it for them as one momentarily, one body that recognizes the source of healing and can draw it near so that it is received. There is an element of oneness, a piece of oneness, if you will, the function of oneness, the truth of oneness that needs to be in place to be the healer of another. Does that make sense?
It does. And would that apply to all the gifts that people will be experiencing in this coming new age of miracles?
Yes, it would. It is the way of viewing life that in individualized expression can be a miracle worker for oneself or for another or for the world. Something for you to contemplate is how one meditating in a cave for lifetimes is changing an entire world in his meditation or her meditation. For you are that one meditating in that cave. And it is you who decides what miracles can take place in your world as the one meditating in the cave. We use that analogy. But you are in this cave in another reality. Perhaps it's not a cave. Perhaps it's on top of the mountain, in a Buddha field, on a cloud. It doesn't matter. But you are the decider. And your decision-making tool is your attention. Your attention to ideas and ideals and truths and illusions. When you have decided it for yourself, with no wobbling, then your world will reflect that. If you are wobbling, you will get a wobbly world.
Is it delusional to think that you are interfering with other beings' mastery of consciousness by healing them or manifesting, remembering for them?
To be accurate and to answer this question would require lifetimes of teaching. So we will try to keep it short. The simple answer is no, it does not. For the world you create is all reflection. For the truth of every being is perfection, already. And this world that you have created of limitation, sickness, and death is only in your own imagination. So what you are asking, is it okay to dream a better dream? And we would invite you to answer, is it okay to dream a better dream?
Yes.
And there you go.
How fast is too fast in waking up from this dream of limitation?
And what do you think is too fast? Would you have enjoyed your beloved pet for a day? Or would you prefer 1,000 days? Or would you prefer eternity?
Mm-hmm.
Would you prefer to be in the same spot for 1,000 years? Or would you prefer to move around? Would you prefer to slowly experience an orgasm? Or would you prefer to draw it out? I mean, quickly or draw it out. These are all preferences. You may have a preference at one part of your journey and completely the opposite in another part of your journey.
I feel often at the threshold of awakening to a new level of consciousness. And there are times when it feels like I'm in that state, a back and forth, a ping-ponging, toggling. I guess for me specifically, and others, is that
I think that is the nature of experience. Not thinking, but this toggling that you speak of it in a way where it is bad. Like you are still thinking from the limited self. But if you think of half your body being in water and half your body being out of the water, is that not nice?
Yes.
And so this toggling, it's just having a view of two contrasting experiences at once. And after a while, you may dive completely into the water and enjoy that. And then after a while, you may come out of the water and enjoy that. You see, there is no value of bad and good put on this from the eternal way. It's just a matter of, have you had enough? Is it time to do something else? And so as you drop this notion of toggling, because if you reflect back on where you were, let's say 10 years ago in your consciousness and your state of being, 5 years ago, whatever, to where you are now, is it better?
Yes.
Is it more expanded?
Yes.
And yet you're still struggling with not being there and not enjoying where you are. And that is why you've labeled bad and good. Rather than this is the nature of expansion, to understand where you are coming from to where you are now, right? This is what gives distance. This is what gives the experience of expansion. If you just arrive in a place and can't remember or recollect or still hold the experience of where you come from, there is no distance, right?
Right.
There's no traveling, there's no journey. We like the journey, we like the traveling, we like the movie. We don't want to hop from ending to ending, do we? That seems kind of boring. What would it be like to watch 1,000 movies and only the last 30 seconds of each movie? Would that be, I mean, that might be quite an experience. But we are looking for the movie to play out over time. Our discussion today has been about defining time in a different way so that the eternal body can be seen on the screen of life and experienced on the screen of life, for you do not need death and aging to create time to mark it. You do not need years and hours to give you that experience of a journey. Any questions on what we have transmitted today?
No.
Any other questions?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Any questions for the listener?
As we enter this age where we are to be light beings, awakening, a mass awakening, is there a time you see this unfolding in mass, where many beings or most beings are this light being?
As we said earlier, there are many realities unfolding on various timelines, if you will. Various accelerated or decelerated timelines, but not just that, just timelines that have more to be experienced and some that have less. So there are all kinds of variations. What we can say to you is you choose how you would like to see yourself and the world unfold. Do you want 1 minute with your beloved pet, or do you want 1,000 years? And for that, we leave it to you. We thank you for this transmission, and we are in excitement and joy with you. You are us, and we are you. Good day.